Hey, before we get into this episode of Sweat Equity, we're going to do the promo first. This is where our sponsors lay their eggs, and we're going to put it in the basket of FuckUp Nights, April 21st in Tampa at the Rialto Theater. It's an old school theater. Basically what FuckUp Nights is, it's like a TEDx talk, but not as douchey. It's one of those things where entrepreneurs, small business owners, big wigs in your city, they get up and they talk about how they fucked up. We learn a lot more from failure than we do from success. How many networking events or conferences have you gone to where you just hear one guy talking about how great everything was the whole way up? I'm not interested in that. We became a sponsor as Toko Works, Tokubaga Consulting, to sponsor FuckUp Nights in Tampa, or you can call it Fun Night if you got the Christian crowd around you. But Fun Nights, Tampa, look it up. If you want to hit me up, law at TOCOWORKS.com. I'll send you all the information. We're going to max out about 300 people. I'm going to be emceeing the event in Tampa, but if you're not in the Tampa Bay area, you can find a FuckUp Nights around you. It is a global thing, like TEDx, just not as douchey. Let's get into it.
Oh, there's music.
Hotty toddy, God almighty. It's the Sweat Equity Podcast coming to you from Cigar City Studios in the Toko Works, Tokubaga Consulting office. I'm your host, Law Smith. We are Sans. That is Sans. That's without. We're without Caleb Fuddy. He's on a mission to make that dollar right now. We're doing this on a Sunday afternoon. Our guest, well, before we get into our guest, make sure you pause it right now. Go to iTunes, subscribe, rate, review. That's the cheat code. Remember, that's the cheat code. That's how we move up. We do this for you for free. This is a free podcast. We're trying to throw out a lot of information. The podcast is supposed to be a realistic, motivational ways to get shit done. I don't like Tim Ferriss because his advice is not applicable. We're kind of the anti that. I want to give you real practical advice. Remember when I told you about using Slack as the team communication app? Well, now it's worth $3 billion. So it changed the game for me. There's a lot of stuff like that I want to hand out. I want to give a shout out to a listener friend of ours, Jed. He was loving our last episode about how to acquire a skill. Sometimes it's tough. Sometimes it's tough to get that discipline. I want to learn this, and I need to figure that out. So long story boring, go on iTunes, subscribe, rate, review, tell a friend, tell a loved one, tell that person that you just talked to. If you're in college, every 5 conversations I had were, man, we should start a bar. We should start a t-shirt company. Those were most of them. If you have that friend, go tell that friend about our podcast. Really help them out. Let's bring in our guest. FuckUp Nights is an event in Tampa on April 21st at the Rialto Theater, and it's one of those events where I was immediately attracted to it when I heard about the idea. We have the event coordinator, president of the Tampa chapter, organizer. That is Maria. You're hearing, and how do I say your last name? Because I wrote it out, and then I can't read.
It's okay.
You know. Alithinos with TH. I should know that because we've emailed a lot back and forth by now. But all right, what does that mean in Greek? You said off air before we started.
Yeah, it means somebody who tells the truth.
Okay, and so
unless they have to lie,
I'm gonna tell the truth and tell you. You got to get up right in this mic, right up in the.
Oh, okay.
Right there.
All right.
Just so you can take it off and hold it like a rapper. If you want.
It's okay.
All right. So. Tell us about FuckUp Nights.
FuckUp Nights is a global movement. It's basically stories of business failures that are told, questioned, and celebrated.
Okay.
And there are chapters in 144 cities around the world, 53 countries.
Mm-hmm.
And when I heard about the concept, I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, how do we bring it here to Tampa Bay?
Yeah, and I was the same way. I didn't know it was like TED Talks, all right?
Mm-hmm.
So everybody knows about TED Talks. Or I feel like I always wanted to do a parody of one, like a sketch where I'd have a turtleneck and explain something really boring and mundane, like here's how fantasy football works, and like just go into. We tried to make that sketch happen, but I couldn't find a good theater to do it in, and then we cut to other TED Talks. But basically, I was attracted to this because I don't like the, hey, look at what we did, look at what I did in business. Mm-hmm. Look at how we made this. This is amazing. Aren't we amazing? I want to hear about how business owners were vulnerable, how they got out of the situations. You learn so much more from your failures than you do your successes, because it can be when you're starting out, it can mean everything if you fuck up too bad. Am I on the right path?
Yeah, and was especially with the startup community, it's known as a badge of honor. If you fail, if you've had a startup and it failed, I think it's better than not having a startup at all and just not doing it because you're afraid of failure. And you learn, like you said, you learn so much more from somebody's fuck up as opposed to somebody saying, oh, I made, $1 gazillion. Okay, that's great. Right. But how did you get there? And I'm sure, something happened along the way. And those are, in my opinion, those entertaining stories, the ones you learn from.
Yeah. I mean, I as a comedian, I like vulnerability. I like honesty. I feel like I can see right through a lot of people when they're talking about it on stage. Even like religious, you can feel it. It's something like you can't hide a lot of. I mean, you can't always hide about how great everything is. Sometimes you're the pastor and you're getting up, or a rabbi or whatever, and you're getting up and you can't hide that you just heard some bad news, but you got to march on and try to make this sermon happen. Or I've been told bad news right before I've been on stage, and I'm like, oh man, but I can at least talk about it. I can break that fourth wall. I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of business owners don't want to do that because they feel like they're going to give up this. You have to act as if you're bigger than you are all the time when you're small. Right. When you're a small company, I think that's kind of a mistake. I think that's in the tech community, you see more transparency in a lot of ways because they feel like you'll find out anyway. Mm-hmm. But also, just they grew up in this transparency era. I feel like when you're a small business owner, no one wants to go, oh, hey, we don't have that set out yet, but we're working on it, kind of thing. I feel like no one wants to say that. Yeah,
and it's funny because, I don't know, half of the people, and this is going to be our third event.
Okay.
So we started in October, and we had a pretty good turnout. A lot of media coverage, which was surprising because of the name, FuckUp Nights.
Right, so we have to
I'm like, nobody's going to cover this because of the name. And I, surprisingly enough, I had some media there that were interested in the concept, which was great. But reaching out to some of these people, it's like, how are they going to respond? Because I Google some, entrepreneurs in the area that are well known, and I reach out to them. I get their email address.
Yeah.
And I reach out to them, and I'm like, would you like to speak at FuckUp Nights?
Yeah.
So without sounding like, okay, I know
pitch.
you fucked up somewhere.
Right.
That's why I want you to talk.
Right.
So do they take offense to it? And so some of them, they will respond. They'll be like, I love it because they get it.
Right.
After, of course, you have to explain it to them. And some of them, they'll just, I'll never hear from them.
Sure.
So it's...
That could be one of a couple of reasons, though. I always try to not... Like, I get comedians that are like, man, this club's not booking me. This is... What the fuck? And I'm like... You're one of 1,000 people trying to hit them up. Sometimes it's not even just that; it's just the sheer numbers, and they don't want to deal with it. It's so they don't get low self-esteem in that.
No. Believe me, if I don't hear from them once or twice, I will keep following up until I get a response, and then I'll call them.
Well, let's explain your background.
So I'm very, very persistent.
What's your business background that helps you kind of organize this in the Tampa area?
Well, my background is marketing and public relations.
Right.
So so that's what I. it's beneficial when you're reaching out, let's say, to the media to try to cover it. You've got to put together a media alert. You've got to send it out. I was not pitching it to anybody to cover it, so I was pleasantly surprised when it was covered.
Yeah.
But and event planning, that's my background too. So it helps in the long run.
And this area needs more of this kind of stuff. We don't have a lot of open air conversations or town hall meetings or any of that. Tampa is Tampa Bay area. I grew up here, and I've said it all the time, is the identity of this area is it doesn't have an identity, and that's kind of an issue in a way.
It's still growing, I think.
Well, it's 3 million people in the area. It's one of the faster metropolises growing because of it's a cheaper place to live, the weather. There's a little bit of growth in jobs here, but it is one of those things where we lack a lot of cohesiveness in a way of having these kind of events. When I saw I went to the second one, which was in February, and I was immediately, I was intrigued because a comedy club got a hold of me to host it, and then it was a double booked, and you had someone else host it. But I was like, I like this on both a comedian and a small business owner when I do consulting. So I like this in all three kind of areas for me. And I was sitting in the back of the room, and I'm like, oh yeah, I love this. This is great. I want to help. I want to be involved in the next one. And luckily, you were welcoming with open arms with it. I feel like it's one of those things where I sat in the back of the room, and I'm looking around the room, and it's like, oh, out of the 100 people here at this bar, it was probably 70 of them own their own business or have their side project while they're working full time. And I was like, this is kind of the group I want to hang around. I don't know. Was it like that in October as well?
I was running around so much,
right.
And because honestly, I did not know what to expect. We had maybe 90 people who registered for the event. And I'm like, maybe from the 90, maybe 20 people will show. That'd be great. Mm-hmm. And it was a good thing that the space wasn't huge, so it wouldn't look like 20 people showed.
Right.
But we had about 58 to 60 people there.
Yeah.
So I was extremely happy, but I was not really paying attention to who. I saw some familiar faces. The majority of the people, I had no idea who they were. But you're right. From what one of the speakers told me afterwards, they were entrepreneurs. So yes, those are the type of people that are going to go. And it doesn't matter what business you're in. In any industry, you share two things.
Yeah.
You share success and failure.
Right.
So
yeah,
it has no barrier. So you don't have to be just in the tech industry or just in the restaurant or just in whatever. You could be in any industry, whether you want to start your own business, whether you currently have a business. So that's who it's geared for.
Yeah, your Todd's adult sex store. You can go to this too. If you're, we met the coffee guy downstairs has his own coffee bus.
See.
Perfect. Whatever. Come check it out. Come
tell him about it. Damn it. Tell him about it.
I'll go down and get another fancy coffee. I got my cinnamon toast crunch coffee. It's awesome. But at the Bricks in Ybor City in Tampa,
great Americano as well.
I don't want to always. We try not to keep this way too Tampa centric, but this is an event that when I looked it up, I didn't realize they were like, oh, we just had the biggest FuckUp Nights in Mexico City. And it was 1,000 or 2,000 people were at this event. And it was like, oh, this is kind of the cool TED Talk for business. This isn't, the business TED Talks are shitty. I don't like them. I think they're self-aggrandizing. I feel like it's it's kind of just, for lack of a better vocabulary, they're kind of jerking themselves off a bit. I feel like
this is the anti-TED Talk.
It doesn't have to be anti. I just feel like it's real. It's like I'm not going to come up here to it's not as formal. The name itself, I think they sent an email too saying they might have to figure out how to do that.
Yeah, and that was an April Fool's joke.
Yeah, so I was going to say, I saw it, I was like, oh, really? And I was like, oh, yeah, it's April Fool's. I fell for that. I fell for 8 April Fool's, I think, because I'm just like, I guess I'm gullible at first sight on a lot of stuff. I'm like, no way, you're pregnant. Oh shit. So it's one of those things where it's huge all over the world. I showed my family. I'm like, if y'all can come to this, and my mom's like, I don't like the name, and I'm like, just shut up, just come. No, she's heard it. She's seen me do stand up. She's heard it.
Yeah.
But, like, everybody in my family's like mortified of the name, and it's like,
oh no,
guys, I've seen you guys drink. Like, you guys say fuck all the time. Don't act like you're better.
And it's the connotation that it's like the word, it has a bad, it's got a bad rap.
Yeah, I agree.
So people either, like I said before, either you hear it and you get it.
Yeah.
Or you're just turned off by it.
Right.
And that's cool too.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. But that's what it is. When you screw up, you fuck up.
Oh yeah.
So it's very raw.
Yeah.
And that's what I think makes it appealing for thousands of people all over the world to attend these events.
Right. And we're adults. We're all adults.
Yeah, it should be for 18 or over because there is alcohol involved, you know, but
it should be for high schoolers as well, really. Yeah, because think about it.
No. You know
and
why?
Middle schoolers.
You know why?
Why?
Because I think we got in trouble with the first one. I wanted to partner with a nonprofit.
Uh-huh.
I'm not going to say
that's a problem right there.
And it was for high school students and middle school students. And because they were helping us promote the event, they got a lot of like backlash on it.
From who?
From the donors and supporters.
Really?
Of the yes.
I'd like to see those. It's usually one lady that's mad, and then
they had to send out a separate email after the event to say, yes, this event is actually called FuckUp Nights.
That's fine. Look. You think kids in high school have never heard the word?
I know, but
are you
know,
serious?
But that's why I would love to have, you know, another event where money that's donated at the door goes towards a nonprofit, but we just can't mention the nonprofit.
Fuck nonprofits. Seriously.
No.
I know.
No.
I'm jaded on that. Look, I've worked with a bunch of them, and they're horrible because they're not run like a business. A lot of them don't run like a business.
They're not, but they have, you know, they've got their board that they have to answer to. So
right, which means they're not agile, which means they're fucking up. You realize that, right? It all comes full circle back. I know you're trying to you're being very PR and don't want to talk shit about. I'm just saying in general. I'm saying a lot of nonprofits, they really miss the mark on what they're really trying to do a lot of the time. They have a board to appease, and that board doesn't really know what they're doing a lot of the time.
Some of them don't. Yeah.
Most of them.
Okay,
especially the bigger nonprofits. I've worked with Susan G. Komen for The Cure. I did a comedy tour with them. That was a nightmare. It was fucking rough. It was tough because, and then you're like, oh shit, you don't even put money into research that much. It's like, wait, 83 cents on the dollar goes, okay, so 17.
There's a lot of overhead, probably,
so 17%
right?
goes to admin, okay. And then 83% of that, 83 cents on the dollar is what? And it, like 80 of it was awareness or something crazy like that. And I'm like, what? I think we got it. By 2010, we had it. I think we knew. I think most of America knew that this is a problem. No.
Well, and I sometimes question where, okay, I don't want to start talking about nonprofits. I just don't. I think some of them need to reevaluate the way that they conduct their operations.
And this is why we work well together, because you're going to articulate my rage for all this stuff. Yeah. This is why I work well with PR people, because you can articulate a lot of stuff where I'm just like, God damn it. When is GD Nights coming out? No. But this should be a thing for high schoolers. That's all I'm saying is like,
maybe. And there are, yeah. I mean, obviously the younger the kids are, and lessons are learned at that age, maybe call it something else.
Look, every
mess up night, screw up night. I don't know.
F with like 3 emojis instead.
No, maybe
something like that. Whatever the kids are doing on Snapchat, something.
They're probably anyway, yes.
No, well, look, every high school speaker I had, I used to do Young Life here, and that was the Christian,
Christian, really?
Yeah, it's like in high school, you do like every Monday night they do like you do games and stuff, and it's social and you hang out. It's like a really positive atmosphere. And then you go on these trips to like campsites and stuff for a week. And there's always a speaker. Every time that we went on one of these things, there's always a speaker that got up and was like, I was addicted to drugs. Like I used to bang chicks and like, and you know, in recording studios and like, and then I saw everything and now I got my life together and a blah, blah, blah. And it's like,
then they saw the lights.
And it's like, well, yeah. And it's like, well, first off, I can't get my mind off the first half of the story. The second half is superfluous almost because I'm 16. I'm like, holy shit, no way. And you turn out all right. Look, it's such a backwards way of like telling you to go to church and all this stuff. But it was always, you sit through speeches like that all the time. And I feel like a lot of them are way worse. And we're so weird about controlling language of other people. Like you can't say this, you can't say that, you can't call someone this.
Politically correct.
Yeah, but it's jumped the shark on even that. I mean, it's gone to the point where it's like I need a safe space for my microaggressions you laid against me. Like it's a weird kind of thing where we're not giving a lot of grit to a lot of kids. I feel like the best attribute I have to be a business owner is I have grit because I've had to deal with a lot of shit the last 10 years. And I just go, fuck it. I'll figure it out. I was bitching to you about problems I've got with my company right now. I got someone not paying me. I'm going to figure it out. It sucks right now. It was cathartic to tell you about it, but it was one of those things where it was like, hey, this won't happen again. I'll suss people out. I'll suss my clients out a lot better.
Was that your fuck up? Would you call that a fuck up? What's been your biggest professional fuck up so far?
I'll let you hijack this interview all the way. I'd say since we've started this company, this consulting company, probably not getting ahead of our internal operations in a bit. So I'm trying to scale up, but at the same point, we don't have any outside investing. It's all on bootstrapping, which means if I get in a car accident, we're done for a while.
Knock on wood.
Well,
or whatever.
This is IKEA
Fine,
fake wood.
Whatever. Plexiglass.
I'll get over there's wood over there. I'll do it later. But it's one of those things where I need coverage. I need to start teaching younger guys how to do some of this consulting work that might have one skill where I want them to be multifaceted. So I have another podcast called Overruled. We just talked about what it's like to be a lawyer, and it's a legal podcast, but I want to see, we did one episode about being in law school and then why you do that to be in law school, to get in what kind of firm. Two of the guys with us they own their own small firm. And basically they talked about the finders, minders, and grinders kind of theory. And a minder is someone they're keeping in the office where they just keep you in your lane and you never do anything else. I want the opposite of that. I want to bring people up, and I want to give them as many tools as possible, but I want them to have an outside tool I don't have. So I talked to a friend that might jump aboard and be a nonprofit consultant eventually.
Oh, see, you need to stop talking shit about
I'm not. She wants to help. I'm not.
Hopefully they won't be listening to this.
No. I take all the brunt for any of that anyway. I've got another guy that likes programming, developing, but I need to show them the other facets of business because a lot of programmers can't talk to people, and a lot of developers and a lot of people, they get stuck in the weeds. So I need to figure out how to bring them along and kind of project manage them as well as our other projects. So I feel like internally we're really unorganized in a lot of ways, and I feel like I could have I see time as a commodity kind of deal, and every hour I'm not working on this, it feels like a missed opportunity a little bit. I could spend an hour working on Gantt charts to figure out our project management, or I could figure out the best ways to handle our bookkeeping, that kind of stuff, where the advice I'm giving out to clients I'm not really taking on our own. Yeah,
that's what we all do though.
Yeah, but it's hypocritical, and I actually find out more about consulting when I found out more about what advice to give when I really apply it to what we're doing. So it's almost hurting our continuing education in a way, because I'm not seeking out better methods in some areas, like cost accounting.
Right.
And cost accounting with labor and all that.
Okay, so that's been so far your fuck up, quote unquote. Your fuck up.
Yeah, just not getting ahead. Like I should be, and I do a very good job at this, I think. But I need to think 3 steps ahead instead of 2 or 1. I always talk about you want to think of plans as like near future, and then concurrently also be ready for a year from now. And so I need to apply that to what we're doing. I'm worried about the 3 months from now, and now it's hitting me that I had the playbook for down the line, but it's still, sometimes when you're doing all the work, it's tough to, like, I'm out there doing a lot of the meetings and a lot.
You're hustling, yeah.
Yeah, and you got to bring it in, because if you don't bring business in, it ain't gonna keep the lights on. So there's a lot of stuff like that. How we want to. I should have figured out how we want to be structured as far as what we're bringing in. So stuff like that.
Okay. So how did you go from being a comedian to consulting?
I was I've had to do this a bunch because I just joined a B&I group.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah. No, it's great. It's actually it's an ego check, but it's great. It's like one big AA meeting.
Which one?
There's one in South Tampa Collaborators.
Okay.
Yeah. Look, it's not for me. I like it. I actually really like it because we had Brandon from College Hunks on this podcast. So if you're listening and you want to hear what I'm talking about, he brings it up. Right. That's the first time I've ever heard of it.
BNI?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm very familiar with it.
Because you hear networking group and you immediately go, ugh. Like, I've been to them. I don't like them. I hate happy hours. I don't get much out of it because the people there aren't really trying. Where I like this because it's like one big AA meeting where you have to meet at Wednesday at 7:15 a.m., which is good for me. I need that discipline to get up earlier. And it's if you're there, here's what I thought. If you're there, you give a shit about your business. So
you're held accountable as well for, for follow-ups and all of that. So, yeah. So there are some good aspects of it. Yes.
And I give out a lot of referrals anyway. And so this wasn't tough for me.
Right.
So bring that back. I got into stand-up 10 years ago. I graduated from Auburn in 2006, went to work for a mutual fund company called Dimensional Fund Advisors in Santa Monica. Lived there for 5 years, worked that at night, went out every night doing stand-up, which I guess some people are amazed by. You have to get up every night you can, basically, when you're starting. And when you're 21, 22, you don't know shit, so I didn't have a whole volume of stuff to talk about. Anyway, worked for this mutual fund company. One of my bosses just won the Nobel Prize for economics, for passive investing theory. Not a real boss that I talk to a lot. Just every now and again I had to get stuff for. I was the grunt. His name's Eugene Fama, if you want to look him up, with another professor, Ken French. Looked passive investing theory. Basically, they say the markets work. Okay. Don't fight the market, work with the market, which is atypical.
Don't fight it, work with it.
Everybody thinks they can beat it. You can't. You need to work with it. So it's a whole different method. And then it goes into index funding.
I'm not really into that.
And so did that, then went on the road doing stand-up full-time for about a year. The aforementioned Komen for the Cure. And then worked for a company called Rabbit Air, which was a air purifier company. So they had a really good air purifier. Did a lot of shit for them. Worked for them for like 2 or 3 years. Got them from about 3 million in sales to 6 million in sales. Got them in Wall Street Journal. I'm not a PR person. Just did it.
Good.
Got them in Cigar Aficionado. Figured out how the e-commerce world works in the back end a lot. Figured out how to do flash sales through social media.
Wow.
Customer resource management. It was only 8 people that worked for the company. So did a lot with them. Moved back here while working for them. went into grad school, business school for Auburn, distance program.
Mm.
So I was on the road doing stand-up, opening for people in grad school, and then also working for Rapid Air. Then I went to work for my buddy's company that was an affiliate marketer, which is affiliate advertiser, which is basically you find products through these marketplaces, you spend the ad money, but you can see the conversions. And if you sold a lot more than you were spending on advertising, you're making bank. Learn the kind of dark underbelly of the internet that way. But I got a crash course in advertising and how to publish and how to AdWords work and all that stuff.
Take a breath.
Then worked for a company called Sola Salon Studios, which is a franchise where you lease out salon studios for stylists. For those that are unaware, most men don't know. The hair salons are recession proof if they're run well. If you're a good stylist, you can make over $100K easily. But most aren't very professional, so you got to kind of guide them along in a lot of ways. So that was kind of a little bit of small business consulting right there, where I was doing a lot of operations with that, but I was trying to get with a franchise group. And then was also working for a company called Mega, which does what we do, and left them in June. So that's
now here you are.
Yeah.
Do your listeners know?
I don't think so.
Really?
I don't know.
Well, now they do.
Yeah, that's why I was like, otherwise I just would have been like, they've heard it. But I don't think, no, I don't, we try to, I don't know. I guess that's probably pretty important.
No,
They've been
you're
listening.
the host and all.
Well, you could ask me questions all day, and because I'm a narcissist, so I'll sit here and take it. So, what do you want to see out of this next event, this FuckUp Nights, April 21st, Rialto Theater in Tampa? What do you want to see out of this? We have 3 speakers. Who are they? What are they about? You got your papers in front of you.
I do, because, I need a cheat sheet here.
You can hear them on the mic, so that's the only reason I bring them up.
Oh, okay. Maybe I shouldn't have been
You're
so
fine.
loud. Okay,
You're
so
fine. You're doing great.
We've got 3 speakers, 3 great speakers. One is Meredith Consuelo.
Okay.
I'm sorry for mispronouncing her.
We'll work on this.
She's in Iceland, so
I'm emceeing the event, so I'll have to work on this.
Yeah. So she used to be on television, and now she has her own. She was also invited to for TED Talk.
Okay.
Or TEDx.
Okay.
So she has spoken there, and now she has her own social media and publicity company. So from what I understand, it's a very good story. She got fired.
Okay.
And it was indirectly, like it wasn't really her fault.
Okay.
But that's what her fuck up is. That's what she's going to talk about.
About getting fired.
Yes.
And
what happened.
Yeah, that can lead to a good opportunity sometimes.
Yeah.
We talk about spite being a great motivator as well.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know with her story.
It was somehow indirectly, like it wasn't her fault.
Right.
But she ended up getting fired.
Sure. But doesn't mean you don't have some anger behind it or some like, I'll show you ism.
Yeah,
you know?
and maybe now she's an entrepreneur, so she's not working. She's working for herself instead of working for a TV station.
Yeah, I like it. All right.
So.
Who's the next name you're gonna butcher?
Yeah, I am. Chris Fasek. So he is the co-founder and marketing director for Premier Photo Booths, which we will have a photo booth there.
So they bring photo booths to you?
Yeah, 2 events. I believe they've got a mobile photo booth, but this is not going to be mobile because it costs too much money to probably bring the mobile one.
Okay.
So they're going to set it up inside the theater.
Mobile meaning like a truck?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, from the pictures that I've seen.
Okay.
So they're going to have a photo booth there, and it's going to be co-sponsored by another company called Media Fusion.
Okay.
And you can get to take your picture and, with a bunch of props and stuff. So they're co-sponsoring that. So we thank them for that. And I think Chris is going to be talking about his fuck up with what's the game? The big hockey game.
The big hockey game?
The
like the video game?
No, like the actual
Stanley Cup?
Stanley Cup, yes. So they had some sort of Stanley Cup fuck up.
Okay.
So that sounds very interesting as well.
Okay. They I'm wondering. Yeah, I'm trying.
And it
to
has
think
to do
what
with the photo booth. It has to do with the company, and then during the Stanley Cups.
Well, they
Or
only
Stanley Cup, one cup, right?
there's one cup.
Okay.
They toss it around. So
Isn't it a big cup?
you only hold on. Yeah, it's huge.
Okay.
They have all the teams that have ever won it. So if you ever look at it, it's got a big base to it.
Right.
That's like, I'm guessing 3.5 feet, and then it has that actual cup.
Right.
So there's always stories. If you Google any stories about the Stanley Cup, there's always guys that are like, I always heard like the Dallas Stars guys, like they put like some kind of hooch in there, and you could
Oh,
drink
you
out
drink
of,
from it.
you
Oh,
could
that's
drink
cool.
out of it for
Okay.
$500 if you went
Oh.
to this guy's house. Yeah, it's shit like that. Like there's people peeing
Wait, so they
in it.
Oh, that's.
It's whatever you
It's one cup, and they just pass it around.
yeah.
Why don't they have like one for every team that wins?
That's the difference of that trophy. I think is that it has to be handed around.
That's kind of cheap, no?
No, I think it's great. I think it's a lot better. I think because it has that thing where you can.
There's like a legacy
Hey, you got it.
behind
You got it now, but you won't have.
You're not
going
going
to
have it again,
right?
Okay. Well, unless you win again.
We thought
Yeah.
about doing this for our fantasy football league, but I feel like guys would pee in it or something, and then
No,
it's over.
That's just wrong.
Then I'm not drinking out of it.
You know what we should have? So we're going to also have, and this is something we're doing here. I don't know if any of the other fuck up nights around the world do this, but we're going to have open mic fuck ups.
Yeah.
So
this should be awkward. I'm going to make it less awkward. Try to.
So
I'm going to Benson interruption this. If you've ever seen
maybe we can have something like the Stanley Cup.
Okay.
You know, and at the end, somebody or people vote for their favorite fuck up.
Okay.
And it goes to them. And then the next event, that person needs to come. It's kind of like winning the crown.
Yep.
You know, like the Miss
Sure.
Universe thing,
Mhm.
right? Don't they
Yeah.
have like one crown they put it? That's what like the Stanley Cup
This
is.
is going to be your territory. I thought I was going to ask you. I don't know.
No, not the crown. Like it's not going to be a crown, but
Yeah.
isn't that like the same concept?
Yeah, I think they stole it from the Stanley Cup. But yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Isn't it?
I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know my Miss Universe.
No, they have like one crown, and the current Miss Universe goes and crowns the new Miss Universe. Same thing with the Stanley Cup, right? It gets passed from one to the other.
Once YouPorn came around, Miss Universe became nothing to me.
Who?
The Miss Universe or Miss USA or whatever it is, the crown.
Yeah, they got that.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, that became zero to me.
Oh, all right. Well, that's what
Once
I
Tyra
think. That's what
Banks-
happens. I
Once
don't know.
Tyra Banks was in Sports Illustrated, I didn't need to watch anything else.
Did you did you hear about what's his name? I'm sure you did. The comedian that mentioned or that said so and so, like the wrong Miss Universe or the wrong Miss America.
Mhm. Steve Harvey.
Yeah, Steve Harvey.
Yeah,
I don't like. Okay, so he screwed up.
he
I don't-
fucked up.
Yeah,
It was a fuck
he
up.
would be a perfect speaker,
He would.
and that's a perfect fuck up.
You know what? He handled it really well. Here's the problem with that. Because they do it from backwards. They'll be like, the second runner-up is...
And you said you didn't know anything about this.
Because I heard about this.
Sure.
I heard about this part.
Yeah, you
I don't
probably
know about
watch,
crowns.
yeah.
Look,
It's okay, Law. I'm not going to judge. I don't care. You can
he's a
watch.
majestic... No, so... He did because they always do it from backwards up, so it's always like that'll just screw you up in how you're reading it. So I think he does like a radio show, a TV show. I think he does Family Feud, maybe. I think he does like 40 things at once, and
Yeah,
so
he's like another Ryan Seacrest.
so yeah, so he's not, but he's not like he's not. I guarantee he didn't do rehearsals for this. So he just comes in. I got it. I've been doing this 30 years, kind of deal. Don't
Right.
worry about me. Kind of like I'll do April 21st at Rialto Theater. I won't prepare at all, but I'll be ready to go. And then, he comes in and you do the third place. You don't call it third place. You call it second runner-up. And then once you name the first runner-up, you know who won, right?
Right.
So it's like it's a weird kind of way to
Progression
do it.
from,
And
yeah.
he probably read it. He read it the wrong way.
Yeah, but I don't understand why he got so much, like...
Because people have no lives and they have to attack. It's like, oh my gosh, this is crazy.
Oh my God, they announced the wrong
Or
way.
super-
Okay, so
or
like
really
they
hot
corrected
chicks.
it, right?
Yeah.
Like who cares?
Right.
I don't know. That's
I
just my take on it.
I agree.
What do I know?
I totally agree.
And how did we start talking about this? Yes, so we're gonna have open mic fuck ups.
Yep.
So
Steve Harvey will be there.
We should. It would be great if Steve Harvey was there.
Sure.
He could talk about his fuck up.
Sure.
You can arrange that, can't you, La?
Yeah. He's funny. Yeah.
So maybe we should have some sort of prize for the best fuck up.
Okay.
I don't know. Anyway,
don't we have a third speaker?
We do. We've got Justin Davis. I can pronounce his name.
I know.
His full name.
I got him.
And I don't know what he's going to be talking about because he just had a baby.
I know him.
You know him?
Recently, yeah.
Okay.
I was brought to his office in the Tampa Bay Wave, and I was introduced to him and a few other people in the Tampa Bay Wave. He is a UX UI expert. What that is, for those unaware, for those in the non-nerd trade like us, it's basically your customer experience, your excuse me, your user experience, your user intelligence. So he's a design guy. He's a very smart guy. And he'll tell you, he does this thing, he hosts this thing called Homepage Smackdown, where you can come in and bring your website on the big screen and he'll just roast it, which I loved because I do it. I have to do the same thing, but he's been doing this a lot longer than I have. I know a lot of people know what bad design is, but ROI is the most important metric in the web universe. And when people that don't understand websites and don't understand how the internet works, when you're doing service work for them, ROI is the number one metric they want to hear back. So why is my website shitty? Why is that one better than the other one? What does the aesthetics have to do with any of this? And it all kind of matters, just like it matters when Walgreens used to outsell every other pharmacy because of the way they designed it. Because all the good stuff's in the back, you got to go all the way to the back. And then on the way up to the front, you'll be like, oh, I need to get this and this.
There's an equation for everything.
Right. Grocery stores do it as well. Websites are no different than the grocery store or Walgreens or whatever. You have placement for all this stuff. And, in the 90s, it used to be real estate above the fold. That's before you roll down, before you scroll down. That used to be the most important real estate. But that's a fallacy now because it's 99% of the people, they scroll. And so that real estate isn't as valuable anymore. If there's no call to action, how are people going to buy your shit or get a lead or know what you do? Do we know? Here's my objective. Here's what I tell everybody. I go, if my dad doesn't understand what my website says we do, I failed. My dad looks like he's confused every time he sees an iPhone. He's like, ugh. And gets angry.
What does he use?
He uses an iPhone, just only because his friends have one, so he's got to have one. But he barely uses it, but my whole point was like, if he can get on our website and get what we do, we've won. We did a good job. Because think about this: there's the generational gap, but there's the his age group makes the decisions. They are the ones that are CEOs of these companies or marketing directors or, anybody over 45 is probably who we want to target. I don't care about the under 45 nearly as much. So I need to be very blunt in what we do. And they need to, law firms are becoming a niche of ours. Yeah, because they've been ripped off before, usually. But I go, what do you guys do? It doesn't tell me right up front. And if you're the brand, if you're a one-man shop, you need to be all over this thing. You're the brand. You are everything. So it's stuff like that where he can do it he can give out a lot more where I don't have that artistic background that he can tell me why this is Schadenfreude or this is, why this is, he can tell you about patterns and design and why that matters and why that's bad. Menu design is something I had to look up recently. If you have 3 columns, it sucks. It's terrible because you need to have focus in areas. You want people's eyes to dart where you want them to. So stuff like that. So he's very good with that. Basically.
So do you know what he's going to be talking about?
I don't. I don't know him that well.
Everything else.
I know him. I learned a lot from him. Look, I don't claim to be an expert at everything.
Did you know that he was also a former Nashville musician?
I heard he was a musician.
Oh, okay.
They hinted
you did
at
know
it.
that as well. That's right.
They hinted to it.
Okay.
And he was having a kid.
Did you know that he developed a social travel app?
I didn't.
Did you know?
What's it called?
It's called Drawer.
Drawer?
Yes.
Like drawer?
Drawer.
How do people in New Jersey say it? Drawer?
Drawer. DRAWER.
Your draws?
Maybe it's my accent. I don't know. And then he had another startup called Zip Chat, a disposable chat room platform.
Okay.
So he's
very intelligent.
Yeah.
I like the cut of his jib, and he's a little cocky like I am, but that's
okay.
that can be a good thing.
Well, I can't wait to hear what his fuck up is.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are the three speakers, and I think we're probably going to add one more. I just want to
mystery guest. Yes.
Yeah. He's also very involved in the startup community.
Hulk Hogan.
No.
Okay.
Although he would be a really good speaker.
Would he?
He's fucked up several times.
Yeah.
Do you know him?
No. Terry? No. I don't. I don't really want to know him. I don't think.
No, but I mean,
doesn't seem like a good dude.
Well, I mean, I don't care. Just as long as he draws, people to an event. That's
sure. We could get. You could probably get his manager, the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Lawler. I think something like that. Anyway, all right. That sounds like so. We have three speakers.
Yes, so possibly a fourth one. I just have to confirm that he's going to be in town on that day.
And we're going to be able to record this, right? You think?
Yeah. Well, what do you mean by recording?
I don't know.
Video?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know a video company that would like to donate their services?
Maybe. Yeah.
Okay. Well, then, yeah.
Maybe audio. We could throw it up on here on this podcast.
Whatever. Yeah.
All right. That'd be interesting. That'd be like a bonus for everybody.
And for the last, the one before, were you there for the entire thing or for the first half of it?
I can't. I think I had my wife was feeling ill, but I think we stayed through the whole thing.
Okay.
We were just finding out she was pregnant.
Oh, congrats!
Yeah,
that's
thank
great.
you. Yeah, having a baby in September.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Are you ready?
No, you're never ready. I don't think. Every dad's like, I don't know.
Whatever.
I'm like, what advice do you have? They're like,
did you ask Justin?
I know him that well. I just I went.
You had to ask him for fatherly.
I will.
Okay.
I'll ask him on stage. How about
there
that?
There you go.
I'll make it very weird on stage for everybody.
Make it very uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have a live mic the whole time, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm there to fill in when the PowerPoint's not working.
Yeah.
Basically.
And last time it wasn't because of my click. No, the first one it worked. The second event there was an issue with the clicker. I don't know if it wasn't aligned with the laptop that was there or what the issue was, but it just wasn't working.
And I got to get you a projector, another one.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I got that too. Yeah. I'm a man. I'm a man of resources.
Yes.
And if I don't own it, I can find some.
Oh, and we're going to be taking orders for FuckUp Nights T-shirts.
Ooh.
Yes.
Yeah. Not Haynes Beefy Tea, not Gildan.
No. Oh, yeah. No, they just Gildan. I don't. They told me it was a really good material, but not like the beefy material.
Okay, yeah.
That's what they told me. I don't know.
Look, out there,
I'm not responsible.
Hey, anybody out there that's doing like a 5K or something that has T-shirts, don't get Haynes Beefy Tea. Just the fucking.
What do you have? Is it because sleeves, it's so heavy? The material.
It's heavy. It shrinks like crazy after a while, but it also it's not form fitting. Like the sleeves are always over the elbow. Like you look like you have short arms.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah. They're just like heavy,
you
ugly
look like
T-shirts.
An extra in a '90s sitcom wearing a Haynes Beefy Tee.
It's not Haynes Beefy Tees. Okay.
I'm just saying. Look,
and the Gildan. What's the Gildan?
Because they used to have roll that way. Maybe they don't anymore.
I don't think they do.
All right.
But we'll be wearing them.
Okay.
But we're going to be also taking pre-orders for the next event. So
Okay.
stop by, see Sissy, and she's going to be taking orders for FuckUp Nights t-shirts.
All right. So if you're in the Tampa Bay area,
It's a free event.
It's free. Go on. Where can they find this info?
They can either go on eventbrite.com and just look FuckUp Nights Volume 3, or they can visit us on Facebook, FuckUp Nights Tampa Bay, or FuckUp Night TB. They can follow us on Twitter,
or
FuckUp Night TV.
You can do this the easy way. You can email me at law.
Okay. Or
at
you can just
TocoWorks.
email Law.
I'll get back to you in 3 days probably. But
Just go on. Just go on eventbrite.com.
LAW at TOCOWORKS. If you have any questions for the Sweat Equity Podcast, if you're not in the Tampa Bay area, you can't make it out to FuckUp Nights, look it up. There's one
probably in the city near you.
There's one in every American city, and there's one internationally. It's everywhere. It's baffling how this is like worldwide, how big this thing is. So check it out. Thanks for coming on the Sweat Equity Podcast.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you very much for having us. I just want to say thank you also to our event sponsors.
Sure.
The Rialto Theater for hosting it, Berlin Gray,
Tocobaga. Don't worry, you're just sitting in my office.
Well, I just know it is like Toco Works.
Toco Works is fine.
It works?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's why I shortened it.
All right. Sound Foundation, Audio Visual, Creative Loafing, Premier Photo Booths, Touch Vodka, which is going to be having some great vodka cocktails
They've got
for everybody.
Key lime vodka.
Yeah, key
man.
lime and orange and some other berry flavor. I can't wait to try one. And you guys are going to be sponsoring the beer, correct?
Yep. Mm-hmm. That's right.
Do you know what kind of beer we're going to be having? No,
Nope.
it's all right. It's okay.
Maybe Brew Bus.
That's okay. Oh, cool. An
Yeah.
entire bus?
Well, they've got they're opening April 16th, so it just kind of makes sense.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, very cool. My Area Network and Tampa Bay Technology Forum. They've been our community partner, and Daniel is great over there. I don't know if you've met Daniel, but he's amazing. So thank you to everybody that supports FuckUp Nights Tampa Bay.
All right.
Including you. Thank you.
That's been Sweat Equity Podcast. Make sure to subscribe, rate, review, tell a friend, tell a loved one, tell your mom. You know, she might want to know. She might want to know what's up. We'll be back next week, hopefully with Caleb. Hopefully he's not lost in the weeds. And if he is, R.I.P. Caleb.